This E46 wagon has been my daily for about 3 years now, and I'm really sick of this color. I've been wanting to wrap it for a long time, but it has a few problem spots that I need to take care of. In this video, I'm going to be tackling all the visible rust on this so that I won't have any issues when wrapping it. But since this is my drift car, I want to use this car as a learning template because I've never done it to actually look good. I want to fix the rust, neutralize it, body fill it, paint and prime it, and clear coat it as if I'm going to leave it just like this. Even though I am wrapping it, I still want to take the time to try and clear coat it properly because I think that's very good practice. Actually, this was definitely my worst one, right inside the door jamb. This is a very common rust spot, but if I let it go any longer, I fear it's gonna make a hole through. This spot is also gonna look horrible under the wrap if I leave it just like that. So I'm gonna take care of that as well while I'm here. Is it my E30 or this car that has one more in the frame rail? It's the E30. Damn, that rust repair that I did down here is solid. It's not rusting anymore at all. Damn, that looks so sick. Damn, look at that. That seam sealer on there worked perfect. I can't even tell that there was a rust repair done here. And I was the one that did it. Need to know I've been thinking about you every step of the way. No matter where I go. Now, since I haven't washed the car because I was lazy, now I'm gonna hit this with 180 grit. Yeah, there's tiny surface rust all the way to over here because I had to hammer my quarter panels to get to a drift event the night before at my house. I had no tools and I was not missing that event. So I just hammered it and I said I'll fix it later, and here I am fixing it later. So I'm basically gonna have to repaint this whole bottom section. Damn! I waited a little bit too long to do this because there's a hole there. That sucks. This takes forever with just sandpaper. I think it's honestly worth it just to hit it with the wire wheel. That is so much faster. Right here, I was wondering if I should keep sanding, but deep down, I know that I should because there's tiny little brown dots in that piece of paint that I haven't sanded yet. So I need to just keep going up until I see clear metal with no little bits of brown. So I'm thinking about going up to this Sharpie line. The only thing I don't like about the wire wheel is that it leaves a hard edge in the paint. But I guess that's when I can come in to block sand it so that I can get that edge all smooth. Yep, just as expected, there's more rust. Yeah, that's actually insane how not worth it is to go by hand. Bruh, you can shred the paint off with this wire wheel. Yeah, I absolutely do not advise using sandpaper to get the rust off initially. I spent like an hour plus by hand just to get to that point. I finally got this all feathered out and good enough for body fill, so I'm gonna move on now. This looks a lot better now. It feels smooth to touch there, so any kind of inconsistencies that it has is gonna get filled by body filler. But there were rock chips all the way down to over here, so I'm coming in and getting all that fixed. Oh my God, there is so much body filler under this quarter panel. It's a huge edge. I guess I'm gonna have to just start grinding. Oh my God. Oh wow. This is not good. Dude, I'm making a fucking mess. This is insane. I got the interior all masked off so I can finally get a look at what the damage is under here. I really hope there's not any holes, but I think it's inevitable right now. Damn, that is so sick. I'm very pleased that there's no holes there. Now I can officially start with the rust converter. I'm using rust mort. I've used it before and it's very good. Now the objective is to keep this rusty area wet with this acid so that it can work. I'm gonna just babysit it for like 30, 45 minutes, make sure it's wet, and then let it sit overnight. I'm gonna do this to the whole car. After sitting overnight, this is what it looks like. It's nice and black, so that means all the rust is neutralized. But this project is ramping up quickly because I pulled the side skirt off and it is not looking good under here. Oh my goodness, I can't just ignore this because this is gonna be very bad if I leave this till even next season. There's also more right there. This is a disaster. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I was being dumb with the grinder and I caused myself a misfortune. This is ridiculous. Sliced not even just a little bit, so far into the quarter panel with that grinder. The inner metal lining is in a different position than the outer one, so I was trying to reach the inner one and not even realizing that I was very close to the outer one. And I cut straight through everything. But now this air saw is what I should have been using from the beginning. This can reach the back inner lining so easily. Yo, this tool is so much better than that grinder I was using. I don't know what that is. Seam sealer that they use in there makes it impossible for you to roll this fender. No way. Yes. I got the side skirts off to get a little more access on some visible areas. And oh my goodness, this is not good. I'm just gonna hit all of this with the wire wheel and use some black epoxy undercoating thingy wherever the side skirt covers. But like here, I'm gonna have to hit this corner with a little bit of paint. And I took this off to get access to that right there. I need to make sure I clean all the way down. Way more over here. This is insane. Over on the other side, thankfully it's not as bad, but it is still getting there. These cars love to rust on the jack points. I'm gonna change this door because it's rotting from the inside out all the way, but on the car, there it is. I gotta fix all of this. After hitting it all with the wire wheel, it actually wasn't that bad. I'm very glad there's no holes. This is exactly why I wanted to do it now. If I waited any longer, I could not imagine trying to fix all these if there were holes already. I'm really excited to be doing this finally. All the rust spots that were sitting in acid have sat overnight, so it's finally ready for me to apply this urethane coating over top. I've used this before and it is amazing. It dries rock solid. A little bit goes a very far way with this. I could only get 2 coats on there without it dripping like crazy, so that looks pretty good to me. I learned my lesson on the other side with using the angle grinder. Now I just started it with the grinder so I can get the air saw in there and get a nice clean cut. I am so annoyed at how easy that went compared to the other side. This left it such a clean cut, exactly where I want it to be. I'll be able to fill the gap between the inner and the outer layer with seam sealer and not have to do anything else. I cut a little bit more off, so I guarantee no tire fitment issue. How's it looking? Yeah, it looks not too bad. It sat overnight in the acid, and it looks a lot better now. And then there's nothing in the middle, and then in the back, it is all neutralized. I do eventually have to take that pad out and get behind that pad, but for now it's good enough. It's definitely a lot better now. I also need to create a little lip on the bottom because I don't want it to be thin like that, because then it's gonna get floppy and it's gonna look really bad. So I need to create a lip with weld. Let's see how that goes. I am gonna be using this copper spoon that I got off of Amazon so I can try and weld this up easier. This also helps me pull back that little bit of quarter panel, which I was worried about it sitting inwards like that. Oof, it's blowing through quick. How is it blowing holes easier now with this backing plate? This is not good. I'm cooking now, hold on. It's working a lot better now that the copper backing plate is a little bit warm. I'm gonna leave it there because that, I think, is the perfect mix of leaving enough material on there and grinding it down any further to get super flat. So since this is already a pretty weak panel, it can do with some rigidity. I was scared of this outer lip being so thin that it was gonna be flopping around, but it's not like that at all. I was scared of it dipping in and then coming out, and it came out perfect. Let's go. I cut this piece out of the hood that I used for my show hood on the E30, and this is really thick metal. I don't know if this is gonna be a good patch panel for the quarter panel, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. Actually, now that it's grinded down, it's not that thick. It looked thick with the paint on there, but yeah, this is the perfect piece. I would not wanna go any thinner than this. Put it over here and like, yeah. That is so cool. A bunch of trimming later, and this piece fits perfectly in there. No way, the moment I turn the camera on, it just sits. But to keep that in place, I'm gonna use a magnet and tack around it. What the fuck? Soak it in IPA. Or actually, could it be a dog ground too? Wait. Wait. Now this is where I made a mistake that costed me a lot of time. I grinded into the quarter panel outside of the weld, and when I went in to weld all the pinholes, I kept chasing my tail, and it took so long because I just kept blowing holes throughout the whole area that I grounded into by accident. That looks so much better than what it was before. I was chasing my tail like crazy on this one. It kept opening up, and that whole bottom section basically was just me chasing my tail. I eventually got it though. I put a light behind the quarter panel, and I saw the light through all of those tiny little pinholes. So all of that had to get welded up. I finally got all the areas welded up. That took such a long time because it just kept blowing holes because it was so thin. But finally, I built enough of a base that it is solid enough to continue so that it doesn't start bubbling up. I was scared of doing body filler over a pinhole and then having moisture get behind it and cracking the body filler. But thankfully now it's all smooth and all the edges are feathered out on the whole car. So I can now finally come in and start doing some self-etching primer on all the bare metal spots. Gotta get this all cleaned up, man. I'm gonna do that to all of the spots. I'm gonna be using Rust-Oleum self-etching primer because I wanna see how the paint job comes out with just some nice, easy to use primer. I do not wanna mix some stuff in the spray gun. Please don't make a mess of things. That was my concern, and of course that's exactly what I did. That's a pretty heavy first coat, god damn it. If I were to do it again, I would definitely tape off the gas cap fully. Yes, that's the way to do it. Because that's the only little place that has some overspray still on it. Yeah, that's good. That's real good, actually. Oh, fuck. Dude, that last one was so egregious. I'm making a fun mess with this. I'm probably gonna regret it later, but there's only one way to learn. I just remembered masking it off before and really wishing that I didn't because I left a really hard line from masking it off, so I don't want that to happen again. Coat number 2. I'm disastering this. This is already drying up. This is so difficult. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it like that and move on. First mix up got these 3 patches up done. Now I'm just gonna mix up some more and do the rest of the car while this all cures up. Now this right here is the disaster part of the car. This had so much body filler, and I'm gonna have to replicate that. But the problem is they also raised the body line because of this dent. So I need to find that line and continue it all the way down to here, which I've never done anything like that with body filler. So I feel like this is gonna be a lot more difficult than even I expect, but we'll see. This is also a pretty big edge right here, so this whole section is gotta get filled in. Gotta push hard first to get into everything. And then I can start easing up on the pressure. Yeah. During this project, one thing I really struggled with was getting the correct amount of hardener in the body filler. Either I would add too much hardener and it would dry so quickly that I wouldn't be able to shape the body filler enough to my liking, or I didn't add enough, which you'll see later. I'm gonna leave it right there. I globbed the body filler onto this, so I'm gonna let this one sit for a good amount of time so it actually dries up. I touched a little bit under this door right here. I'm hoping I could just do a one and done and it won't need any more body filler. That looks a lot better, and more than everything, it feels really smooth, except for in this area right here, but it feels really good. I was worried about this area, but I made sure to do this side first, keeping the sander nice and flat on that panel, and then afterwards coming in and smoothing this out. And it feels amazing on that body line. And over here feels really good. I'm excited about that. Compared to how it was with that big ass gash right there, that looks so good. And here's where the fiasco on this quarter panel started. I had so many issues with the body filler, just not curing all the way. And so I had to peel all of it off, sand it all back down, and then restart. And that was just so aggravating. I went back to add more body filler, and I think I finally got it. That is so much body filler, I know, but it is what it is. This is what I ended up getting the body filler like. It took a lot of patience and trial and error to get this filled in. It was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be, but I finally got it. There's a few little pinholes, but I'm hoping the filler primer will get that all sorted out. This line is way higher than normal, but I just had to continue what was already on the car. This part is ready for filler primer. I'm gonna use some prep ball. And I did spray a little bit high with the self-etching primer all the way up to here like an asshole. But whatever, I'm just not really caring about the prep and stuff. Just because last time that I cared, I made it worse by caring. So let me just see what not really caring is like. Oh yeah, that's a really good first coat. That's a heavy coat, but it's fine because there's already a coat down. That's a nice fat coat that's gonna be sandable. I don't wanna leave it too thin because then I'm gonna sand through it right away. That actually came out so much better than I expected. I thought I was gonna have to use some glaze putty, but after seeing this, it's staying just like that. Yeah, I'm definitely making a mess out of this with the overspray. It's kind of getting unreal. So I'm kind of guessing, I feel like the primer now has to come all the way up to here, which that's a lot more than I was expecting. There we go, first coat. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Oof, that one went pretty high. Whatever. Looks like I'm respraying big ass chunks. There we go. Ooh, that's looking really, really good. Oh wow, that is looking good. This body line was a bit slouched, so I went in, sanded it with 80 grit, and added some more filler to it. Oof, that's a heavy first coat. Good first coat. Oh my goodness, that looks actually pretty good. Fuck, that's heavy. This is why it's critical to have guide coat on there. I'm able to know exactly how much I want to go into it. Like I can leave the tiny little ones, but I want to make sure I get majority of it out. Last night the primer was sanding very poorly. It was gumming up like crazy. So I let it sit overnight and now it was dusting beautifully. But unfortunately, I exposed some body filler. So I'm gonna have to re-prime the panel, which I'm not excited about, but I learned my lesson on the show hood on the E30. If you leave this right here, it's gonna be haloing like crazy through the paint and it looks pretty bad. So I learned my lesson. Just take the time to add some more primer and it'll come out way better. After like 3 hours, I finally finished masking the whole car up because the clear coat's overspray is a lot stronger than the primer's overspray. So I want to make sure to get everything that I care about nice and masked up. I added another layer of primer to the back quarter panels because they're a very visible part and I want to make sure that there are no body filler lines or low primer spots to make the base coat look inconsistent. So I just did one more hand of primer. I got to sand it with the 400 and we're good to go. And then as well, I have to sand about 2 or 3 inches above the primary area so that I can make sure that the base coat fully blends in. I can't only spray the area that I worked on because it'll look horrible. So I want to bring that sanding mark like about to here. I'll respray that whole area. And hopefully it looks good. This is my first time doing this. So I really have no idea how the blend is going to look, but I'm trying my best and that's all that counts because regardless of the fact, I'm gonna have to live with it. And if I tried my best and it kind of looks horrible, then at least I tried my best. I put the sink as hot as it can go and then filled this bucket up so it's nice and toasty. I'm gonna let these sit for a long time so that that paint can really get up to temperature. And then when I'm about to spray, I'll re-change the water out, fresh hot water. Since my E30 drive shaft decided to go kaput, the U-joints on it are absolutely destroyed because I was changing the gibo and I let the drive shaft dangle and now there's a knock in this front U-joint and it's making such a bad vibration. And the back is also stiff in this direction, very stiff. So because of that, the E30 is stuck in here. I have a new drive shaft on the way, but it's gonna be like a week and a half. So I gotta wash this car because I drove it through a lot of rain and I'm gonna put a car cover over it because there's a huge hill getting into my shop. I would love to get it outside, but I'm not able to do that right now. So there's so many steps I have to take to be able to do this properly, but it's worth it in the end. Also, I have this as well. A lot less damage than the one that I currently have, and no rust like how mine is. Yeah, this one's a lot cleaner. I have to retint that window, and then at that point, this thing will almost be entirely rust-free on the body, but then this door also has to get changed out. So I'll do that once this thing's on the road. I'm slightly concerned now because now feathering out the edges, I'm coming all the way out to over here. And then I'm thinking I might as well, with this one coming up to here, connect them anyways. And then over here, I did the same thing. It goes all the way to the trunk, wrapped all the way down. So now I'm looking like, yo, I might not have enough clear coat for all this. I think the base coat is gonna be enough because I'm just hitting the patches that I hit. Yeah, the clear coat, one can of clear coat might be thin. Whatever, I'm not gonna connect that. That should be fine like that. And if not, oh well. Real quick now, I'm gonna use Optimum No Rinse waterless wash to hit the clay bar over all this area and get rid of as much overspray as I can from that primer. Last thing up, wax and grease remove, and it's ready for paint. I'm just gonna send it. Now is the moment all this prep has led to. I have an insane adrenaline rush right now, but this always happens before I paint anything. I just gotta get through it. And if a mistake happens, it is what it is. But the adrenaline rush is because if I make a mistake, there is no going back now. Damn, that fan is huge. Yeah, that's gonna be the first coat for sure. All right, my heart is pounding before this one. This is actually spraying very, very well. Wow. Thin though, but I like that. Yeah, pretty good. Another thing I really wish is that I just took this trim piece off instead of taping it up. That is just really annoying looking back at it now. All right, that's one coat on all of them. Whoa, that looks really good. What? Definitely gonna need a third coat. It looks a little dry still.
That's 3 coats. And I got a little bit left in case if some spots are light. I'm gonna make sure I inspect it real good so I don't have any see-through spots.
Now before clear coat, I'm gonna hit everything with the tack cloth. Make sure there's no dust anywhere. I've never used this spray clear before, so I'm just hoping for the best. There we go. Now I'm gonna shake it for 2 minutes.
That is not consistent at all, but I'll try and fix it on the second and third coat. First coat is done. Second coat, I'm gonna try and be a little bit thicker, but I'm not gonna go for glory on the second coat. Now I gotta go nice and slow to make sure that this clear coat builds up and it gets nice and shiny. If I go too light, it's gonna be orange peely. My heart is pounding so hard right now. Looking pretty good, but it's gonna need a third layer. Oh, that's looking really good. What? I hope it stays like that. I just need quarter panels, 100%. Yeah, this one looks really good. I keep spraying this side a lot better than the other side. Wow.
Yes. That's never had all the clips in. Oh yeah. That is by far the best my side skirt's ever fit. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Let's go. This car is looking quite spiffy now. Finally, my baby is done. Dude, that took a lot longer. I can't lie, I wanted this to last 3 days, a weekend. But clearly that was not possible. I was being ridiculous. But these wheels are so hideous now. Dude, now it's gonna be the cycle. Now, once I make the body look good, then the wheels are gonna look horrible. Then the wheels are gonna look good, then everything else is gonna look horrible. I also zip tied the bumpers on the corners right on the quarter panel because this car always had saggy bumpers. And I've wanted to do this for a very long time. Right there you can see. I drilled it kind of far back, but it's okay because that's the part that had the most amount of metal. That was basically touching my tire last time, and now I can fit so much better. I've been daily driving the car for about a week now. It's dirty, but it gets the point across. It looks so much better than having those little brown rust spots sitting on there. The only thing I regret is that body line is kind of harsh. I left it really sharp, but it is what it is. I learned a valuable lesson with that. Now, like, look, that trunk rust sticks out so much because it's the only one. And the blend actually came out insanely well. I can't tell that there was any work done to any of these spots. I'm so happy. I was very worried while doing this that that body line meeting up higher would look bad, but it's not that noticeable. And I'm assuming that's the reason why I never noticed that that lip is bigger. I only noticed because I went in and worked it. But here you can see there is a low spot right here. It needed a little bit more body filler, but I do not mind the colors. On camera it looks a little bit off on this side, but like straight up looks pretty good. And then over here as well, that door sticks out like crazy now. Yeah, I'm very happy. For just spray cans, I am very happy with how this came out. The only thing left now is this top piece. I didn't know how good of a job I would do blending it, and now that I know I can do a decent job, I'll tackle this one right there. Out of all the spots, I think this one is the most impressive one. This looked like it was fully totaled when it was rusty, and now I cannot believe the difference. This is only using spray cans. This is such a beautiful result. Real quick, I also got a new fire extinguisher mount in, and this one doesn't rattle anywhere near as much. Oh my goodness, I love it. This is so much better. Slowly but surely, this car's coming together.